Each 3D printer will come with its own software. As you can see down here, I've got Bsoft up and XYZware. They're all more or less the same, but it's just to enable you to bring in the STL files. So if I load up Bsoft, it will bring up your work area, so the grid here will represent the amount of space that's in the printer or the printer table. To import a file, click onto Import Model up here. They're all quite easy to use, so they're very simple in their terminology. So we can import file from here. I can choose an STL file that's been previously designed on a 3D design program and exported to STL. Open the file and it brings it onto the screen here. So what I can do, one of the most important things is to make sure that you decide whereabouts you want it to print on your printer table. So if you're doing more than one model to be printed, you might want to move this along the table. Okay, so if I want to center it, it's over on the right, and also make sure that it's placed on the platform. Sometimes there'll be a slight gap between your design and the platform, and obviously you don't want your 3D print to start 5-10 mil off the surface of the table. So you make sure we clicked on place. You have the option to move your design along the X, Y or Z axis. You can rotate your design, so I can flip it around like so. And you can decide what axis you want to turn it on as well. Now this can be useful if you're considering the use of supports for your print. So where you have a slight overhang around here, you might want to consider putting some supports in, but if we flip it around, it takes away the need for the supports on that left hand side. Now we then might have to consider where else supports might be needed within the print, but this one should be okay. We can go on to scale, and we can scale down our model. That's useful when you are teaching. If a pupil has done quite a big design and you want to do a couple of test prints first, I'd always recommend doing it on a slightly lower quality and scaling it down if needs be. So you can scale along each axis again, and you can mirror your design so you can flip it around as well. So over on this side you've got maintenance. So if I click onto maintenance, you can change the filament. I've just had to change the filament on the machine because it had snapped, and sometimes you find if your printer is left in sort of cold conditions, then the filament can become a bit brittle. So I've changed the filament there, so I've just put the new PLA in. You can choose to calibrate the machine. So the operation is needed to ensure the quality of your 3D prints. Now you don't have to do this every time. Better machines will last quite a few prints before you have to calibrate again. But if it's first time using it, you might want to do that. Extruder maintenance, this allows you to heat up the nozzle and unclog it. And then if you need to do any maintenance of the parts, so replacing the nozzle, you'd select that one. Okay, so I've brought the work in. So I've got my design here. And as soon as I'm ready to print, I go onto the printer tab at the top and print, and it should open up a box. And basically what the software is doing is it will slice up your design, and you can decide on how thick the layers are of the print. So you can choose sort of 0.1 mil, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So when you've chosen to print, you can also control the density. So if you've got a solid model, the software will usually produce like a crosshatch grid inside to speed up the print, but you can control how dense that item is.